Well, people, here goes. It's Sunday night. We made it through, right? We made it through. Long day, long day. Pope Leo Day. I'll always remember this day. Pope Leo Day, the 14th of September, 2025, 10:47 in the p.m. I am Friend Shot Pearson. Welcome to Friend Shot Blue. People, every day I do these videos. Every day, I'm not sure if I'm the co-pilot or I'm the captain. Probably the co-pilot. Probably just sitting in the back. But I'm always asking for God's leading in what I do. God told me years ago, protect the gift. Protect the gift. And with each subject, I have to remind myself, and being that this Charlie Kirk situation happened on the 10th of this month of September, I got to be careful. I want to put things in perspective for you. I want to talk because people have been emailing me, Pearson, speak on the man and speak on his philosophies and what he had to say about black people or the lack thereof, the gender issue and the lack thereof. People, let me tell you something. I got to be careful. By the grace of God, I got to know when a trap is being set. There are things that, and there are topics that I know from the past, even from our last channel, that I can't get into. Where other content creators, they're all over it. I can't do that. We all learn in different ways. We all see things on a timing basis. And your rhythm might be different from mine, and your prerogative might be different from mine, and you might get a pass while I get a stop sign. But I'm going to say to you guys, I appreciate the emails, but I'm not getting knee deep on all the issues that Charlie Kirk talked about. It's too risky for me. Because y'all know I go hard, right? I'm going to go hard on it. I stopped really making time for Charlie Kirk, I say about 4.5, maybe 5 years ago, just before I started YouTube with my last channel. I just stopped. I'm like, you know what? It's doing more harm than good. See, sometimes you can say things, but it's the way you say it. And you might think that you're doing good by saying it, but you're young in your delivery. Now let me break this down. I've said this before on other videos. When you're born, you inherit those characteristics from your parents and the traits of your grandparents. And sometimes it skips a generation, but you inherit those traits. That's what you are. When you give this image to God, covered by the blood of Jesus, it can be tamed. Now, Charlie Kirk came into this thing in his teenage years. Don't know if you guys saw this video, but because I was at the memorial today in Arlington Heights, the Lord blessed that I was less than 5 feet from all the major speakers. I got through. It was a thick crowd, but I got through. And I know it was the grace of God that I was able to get to that podium and hear, because I was able to hear some things. I want to show you, I want to share with you a video that I made a short of, which is also on my live. Charlie Kirk met a gentleman. Matter of fact, he met a few people, but there was a gentleman at the live. And he talked about how Charlie got his start. He said, look, Charlie came to one of my meetings and talked to several people, and he was trying to get involved a little bit deeper. And the date was August 4th, 2011. Now, Charlie was in his senior year of high school, which means you're what? 17 and a half, maybe 18? I don't know, give or take. So Charlie branched off into another meeting not too long after meeting this guy, who started Charlie on his speaking circuit. Remember, this all started on August 4th, coincidentally Barack Obama's birthday. So he met this guy. I want to play for you what happened. But it's going to be redundant for some people, but listen again, because I got a major point to make, something I deliberately didn't make in the first one. So check it out. Well, people, I was in Arlington Heights today, Arlington Heights, Illinois, the home of Charlie Kirk. There was a memorial there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time we had. I covered it live. Please check out the video. It's titled Live, Hometown, Charlie Kirk Memorial, Arlington Heights. He grew up there. And I listened to a gentleman. He told a fascinating story that when Charlie was in his senior year of high school, he went to a meeting and he met this guy. It was on August 4th of 2011. August 4th of 2011. Just so happened to be coincidentally Barack Obama's birthday. Wow. And he then went to a following meeting, and here, I'll let you listen to the story.
He met a guy who said, you know, you could get more traction from your outfit, more funding if you would incorporate your 501c3 status. He didn't know what that was, Charlie did at the time. So how do I get that? Hire a lawyer, you could get incorporated in a 501c3 status. Charlie says, okay, how do I do that without money? I'm not to graduate from high school. And so this guy supposedly gave him a $10,000 check right there in the spot. And a couple of months later, he's now back at the same organization and met the same guy. Well, what do you do with the $10,000 I gave you? And as the story goes, the guy said, well, I haven't got the paperwork back. My lawyer called me today and said our 501c3 hasn't been approved already. So the guy ripped out his checkbook and wrote him another check for $1 million. Now, I don't know who that guy is. I suspect I know who he is, but I don't know for sure.
I want you to understand something. At my age, I see things differently from 20 years ago, and certainly from my teenage years, or even in my 20s. Charlie Kirk, again, let's say 17 years old, his last year of high school, maybe 18. The guy who just spoke gave him the opportunity to speak. He was like the first person to give him a platform to start speaking. And again, Charlie then met a guy who told him, he said, look, you'd be better off getting your 501c. And Charlie looked at him like, hey, it's my last year of high school. I don't have no money. And the guy gave him $10,000. He said, get a lawyer, get yourself incorporated. 2 months later, he met Charlie, saw him again, according to this guy. And he asked him, how's it going with the lawyer? He said, well, you know what? The lawyer just happened to call me today. And he said, Charlie told the guy, look, the paperwork hasn't come back yet. However, my business is approved with the 501c. He said the guy whipped out his checkbook and gave him $1 million. People, what this gentleman is saying, and he's a Vietnam veteran, what he's saying is that a 1 in a million type situation took place. And this is how Turning Point USA began. They call it in business seed money. It ain't every day somebody gives a stranger, I don't care how talented they are, $1 million. Let's just keep it real. Charlie's too young to understand what was happening to him. So these are my levels. When you're young, you're receptive to be taught. You're constantly getting a lesson. As you get older, now you've acquired knowledge. And then as you get older, in relation to the knowledge, and you think you know, now you got experience. Then after a few setbacks or situations of some time and whatever, maybe at a few decades, now you got some wisdom. Because you can reflect on what you did and what you shouldn't have done, and you watch other people, whatever. Read books. But now that you got the wisdom, you got to figure out when to move, when not to move. Strike, when not to strike. Or be quiet. What stage do you think Charlie was at when he met this guy who gave him $1 million? He had to still be at the taught lesson stage. Now, you guys who emailed me, I've heard it on other channels the last few days, that the Trump Tower, Charlie's family goes back 50 years from what I've been reading last few days with Donald J. Trump. So Charlie Kirk's father has been close to Trump in the development of Trump Tower and in business affairs. So was it a coincidence that this mystery man just whipped out his checkbook and gave him that money? Where I'm from, and I'm not speaking for them, but where I'm from and the wisdom I've acquired over the decades, don't nobody give you no money like that. Certainly like that, unless they want some in exchange. It's called being bought and paid for. Or it's an association through a network because they knew his dad. This is not no instant roll the dice. It just happened to hit all sixes. Now, something's going on and the guy who I just let you hear speak, he said he think he know who the guy is, but he's not sure. Don't nobody give you $1 million. And do you think at 18 years old, even though Charlie was co-founder of this thing, you think at 18 years old he knew how to set up an infrastructure for a national and then an international network? No. That's impossible. Not only is it seed money, but there got to be a group of people allegedly working along with that money to set this system, give it a base, and then catapult it. Allegedly, Charlie's just the face. He's just the face. He's the face. In my mind. Tell me what you think. Because when was the last time somebody gave you $1 million? Or even $100,000? When somebody give you that kind of loot, come on, baby. Come on now. Charlie was too young to be able to pull this off. I have felt this way for decades. Every time a president go to Washington, D.C., that he had no political experience, like Trump, how do you think he ever able to just navigate through and deal with the Speaker of the House and the Senate? I mean, both houses of Congress. People, think about what I'm saying. The structure and the framework is already there. If not, the people who know how to pull it off are there. Trump is the face of a system. Charlie was a face of a system in my book. I'm glad I heard the story from this guy. That's what he said. He said that the guy whipped out his checkbook after seeing Charlie 2 months after he'd already gave him $10,000 to set up his corporation. Now he give him $1 million. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. We might not never know who the hidden person is and what their intent is. But again, I stopped engaging with Charlie years ago. I'm like, it's going to do more harm than good. Because I could tell the way he was saying it. And sometimes just direct on certain issues. I'm like, you know what? This is not good. See, you learn. And you guys know when I did a video about a week ago, I'm big on relationships. And Charlie was a great debater, very knowledgeable, knew the Bible, knew history, but he's young. They tell you in theater, they tell you as a speaker, you got to know your audience. You got to know your crowd. There was a famous president I read decades ago. Be prepared, be present, be brief, and then be seated. Something like that. You got to know your audience. Charlie, to me, what he really lacked, even though he talked a good delivery with Christianity, what he lacked was a sympathy and empathy level to connect to people so that they could find a will to change. If there's another way for me to put it, I will. It takes, again, you got taught lesson level, knowledge level, experience level, wisdom level, and then win the strike. When you're only 18, 19, and you're handling arguably $1 million enterprise, you think you really know what you're doing. It's OJT, baby, all day. I don't care what it is. Nobody that brilliant. There had to be an infrastructure already in place and a mindset. When I say in place, there had to be people already knew and know how they wanted this thing to go. Charlie was the face. He's only 31, y'all. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Anybody do business, you know what I'm talking about. You don't just come out being no Einstein. Oh, I'm going to run this big corporation. No, you're not. You don't know anything. You haven't done anything. And that's not to discredit him. That's just how life is. You don't know anything at 18. What the hell do you know what to do with $1 million? You don't have a clue. We got to keep this thing real. I don't see the media talking like this. He's 31 years old. What did he know at 21, 22, 23 how to lead this thing? He's a debater. He got a little knowledge, but he ain't got no wisdom. He ain't got no depth. He ain't got no experience. By 31, he had knowledge and a little experience. I wouldn't call it wisdom by that. You're still 31. Wisdom come a little bit later, baby. And you got to know how to conversate with people. So he was a great debater. And you all sent me some videos the last few days. Look, I already knew that part of him. But in my mind, I made up my mind 4 or 5 years ago. All that's on purpose. Because I understand future past. You say I'm a Christian, but yet you talk a certain way. And now, boom, something happened. People bring back all them old videos of how you was talking this, that, and the third. Now everybody's confused. People are really not confused. They know exactly what he said and what he been saying and how he said it. But the goal of the Antichrist, especially in this generation, the last generation, he wanted a division. So however Charlie was in the past, this is what you're seeing now. Division. Because that's what he spewed. Whether you want to believe it or not, take some time, watch at least 40 or 50 videos of him. You'll understand what I'm talking about. And even after I went out and I covered the live show today, I'm telling you, that was a beautiful experience. Beautiful people. I break bread with them any day of the week. But I really don't want to have that conversation. Because in my mind right now, it's time to get right, stay right, and get ready for the flight, and don't be deceived. That is the utmost importance to me. I don't know what you're going to do with your life, but I'm not going to get caught up in this Charlie thing. I'm doing the videos because I want you to understand what's going on. Okay? I know what Satan up to. And thank God, I'm not going to get into this trap because it could cost me here. Other people's channels, people getting letters and people getting some time off because and then you got people out here at church, walking out of church service because they talking about Charlie a certain way and people know that. See, you would have to do some serious research on Charlie because the media, in my humble opinion, they're culpable in this thing. They've been hiding some of the things that Charlie said. They're showing you one side. You got to understand where I'm coming from. This is all a game. Charlie was young, baby. He 31. I'm in my 60s. I see the game. I saw it coming a long time ago. Satan don't sprout nobody up that young, that quick. Come on, man. And when I say Satan, a system of things. Dealing with a snake. You think Charlie knew what was around him? And I'm not saying the person who gave him $1 million was a snake. I'm just saying there's a system in place waiting on him so he can be the face and utilize his intelligence. But baby, when you get a certain plight, the Bible says the more that you're given, the more accountable you got to be. So you can know that word, but how do you apply it? That's when wisdom kick in, baby. So they don't catch you by your underwear and by your pants 4 or 5 years from now, because that's what America's good on. Showing you in a certain light for a few years, and you think you got it going on, all of a sudden they pull up all the dirt. Uh-oh. You think I'm lying? Ask Gary Hart, the presidential candidate back in the day. For those of you all who know, you know what I'm talking about. Do the research on Gary Hart was running for president, and they brought up his past. Oh, I can't run for president now. Sorry. Got a mistress. America's good about that. Wisdom. God might forgive. God might have grace. America don't, baby. I just want to get that perspective. No harm. I just want you to think. $1 million come with a price. And if we ain't smart, we gonna pay for this. No division. None. You don't have to discuss him at work, at church, or nothing else. That's what I would do, not discuss him. Because that's what Satan wants us to do right about now. And no harm to the people that I met today, but I want you to understand what's going on. Everybody not like you. All the people I met today at the live memorial in Highland Park, no disrespect to you. This is wisdom talking. You people are beautiful. But this wicked system in America and around the world, they're trying to set us all up. I think the best thing to do is not discuss those issues. Just tell people I love you in the name of Jesus and I respect you. Don't start discussing those issues. It's time to get right, stay right, get ready for the flight, because Jesus is coming soon. That's got to be our priority. And being that brother's keeper. It's time to love each other. That's what time it is. Because they're going to take this Charlie thing and they're going to heat it up to the max. Because they want civil WAR. They want civil WAR. That's what they want. And before you comment, if it's something nasty, I want you to meditate on what I'm saying. They got a plan. And they plan big events. A cause and an effect. For you to stay out of it, pull away from it. Don't give it your energy. God bless.